Hi everyone, this is Kyle with K-Debate. I'm going to be doing a video on Obamacare. I've made one before, but this will be more specific, more to the point. I touched on this subject last time. It's the reason for the government shutdown, and there's a lot of misinformation going around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say what Obamacare is not, and then I'm going to say what Obamacare is. There's a lot of misinformation, and it needs to be explained in a concise manner so that people can understand. You can Google it, look it up. It takes 5 minutes to debunk most of these things that are not true. But since most people don't want to do that, they want it told, I'm going to do that for you, and hopefully it'll give you enough motivation to look up the rest. And I will be providing links below. Okay, the first thing is this email that's been circulating since 2009 that comments about Obamacare taking money out of your account without your consent, about Obamacare not being for Congress or the Senate or anybody, that they don't have to do what they do. But then there's another one where it says you don't get cancer treatments, you don't get any kind of waivers on fees, it's more expensive. Government says hospitals can't get more land or money. And it just goes on and on about all of these things that it's not. And even my roommate today commented about it, and he was worried about it, and I explained to him and I showed him some of the different things in the document itself. And it helped him because his family sent him this email that is not true. So he just believed it, and that happens very often. Is someone you trust passes on this information without verifying it, and you use that to use your family's credibility to verify it, and that's how misinformation starts. So here's a list of what Obamacare is not. This is a short list. Obamacare does not let them take money out of your account. What it does is it lets them electronically charge you through your bank account for the medical bills only. So if you're being charged $200, it will automatically take that out of your bank account that you signed up with. So it's not necessarily, some people don't want that because they don't want money being taken out of their account, but it's something you have to pay. So if you don't do that, you have to pay a different way. It's just like your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, you get in trouble. So having them do it automatically is actually something that people really might like. Some people will like, some people obviously don't because they want to push it back, but then you get fines. So this isn't them being able to take as much money as they want or any kind of money, just for this healthcare. Now, another one is Congress must also be under this law. They don't get exempt. So people were saying, well, if Congress puts into a law that doesn't affect them, why are they doing this? They are affected. They are. I have actually read the bill. Like, I only read about 100 pages out of the 700, but I was reading the parts for eligibility. I was reading the parts of who is exempt. They are not exempt. The only people that are exempt are like Native Americans and people that aren't here legally, which is another one. People that are not here legally do not get covered. They do not magically get health coverage. They do not get protection. The only thing hospitals are not allowed to do is deny emergency medical care. And everyone has always had that. If you deny emergency medical and they die, someone is in trouble. This bill does not change that. It just says that you are not allowed to, it's not even a major part of it, is you cannot deny emergency medical care, even if they don't have insurance. So that would count for illegal. If somebody gets both their legs cut off and they get sent to a surgery and they say, well, this guy's an illegal immigrant, so they send him away. No, they can't do that. That's the Hippocratic Oath. So that was pre-existing before Obamacare. Okay, so those are the main things for what Obamacare is not. And there's a lot more that are being thrown around, but here's some of the stuff that Obamacare is. It makes it so you cannot have your insurance company drop you for any reason. So you will always have health insurance. There's a lot of places that you worry that you're going to get dropped because you discover you have a pre-existing medical condition or you become something that exempts you. They can't do that anymore. Your health, your age, whatever, they cannot remove you from it. So it protects you in that way. Another thing is they cannot raise your prices because some places do that. They say, well, what are you going to do? Do for different insurance? Good luck. They can't do that. They can't just raise your prices astronomically because now it's regulated by the government. It's regulated by this law. To what extent, it's all jargon, I don't understand. But it does sound like they control it a little bit more, so it won't go higher. Also, because it's universal health care, people are complaining that the doctors are going to get paid less, that they're going to quit, that there's not going to be as good of health care. That's also not true. It might cause a ripple, which could make some doctors quit and some people want to be doctors. Or it depends. But it doesn't crash the entire system like people are saying it will. What it does is you get insurance, and instead of you paying the doctors, you pay your insurance, and your insurance pays the doctors. So the doctors are still getting paid, and they're probably getting paid the same amount. But now that everyone has insurance, the prices will probably shift, and taxes will change because now that there's either more or less money coming in. But with any new law that affects payment in such a mass scale, I don't know how that's going to affect it. It will change things, but there's no way to determine whether it'll do as much as people are saying, and it probably won't. Let's see, what was the last note? Oh, okay. One of the main things that's circulating online is the HB 3200. That's the one that's stated in the email with all of the page numbers and where to look it up. And the HB 3200 is not Obamacare. That's a different bill that did not pass. It was very similar, but had major differences, such as Congress being exempt, about illegals being treated. They still weren't given the ability, but they were treated differently. And that's where most of the quotes were coming from. So most of the quotes were coming from HB 3200, which is not Obamacare. Obamacare is HB 3590, a completely different bill, and I will be linking both of those below. I will try to label them so that you don't get them confused. And I got confused because I was reading one and I switched over to the other one, and then I wasn't paying attention. But that only lasted for a few seconds before I realized the typeface was different. So I was tired, and I shouldn't have done that. But I was trying to look something up for a friend. And then I spent like 3 hours reading 100 pages, and I made sure it was the correct one. And I felt that I learned at least a little bit. Because they're over 700 pages long. That is how much a normal law is. Because they have to have every single thing, and they're all very long. And there's subsets and subsets and subsets and clauses, and it's very technical and it's very difficult to read. I don't understand half of it. I'm not an expert. That's why I want you guys to at least look up when you see a thing that says, this is a quote from it, this is a quote from Obamacare, look it up. All you have to do is Control F. If you're on a different operating system, do whatever you have to do. Just do the find thing and see if that is actually in there. Because it only takes about, even with 700 to 800 pages, you do a search. Does the word illegal actually come up in the document? Look at the exemptions. Look at what Congress is. Look at, where the law states these things, because they're in there. And they don't take a lot of time to look up. And they may be confusing, but you spend a little bit of time and look it up, and you can understand it. It takes a little bit. It does. But it's so much better than just yelling hate that you don't understand why it's this way, when it's not that way. It's really not. And I have seen people, intelligent people, yelling about these things that aren't true because they think they're true and never looked them up. Everyone has seen it. Everyone has done it. Maybe not with this, but with something. A law that got smear campaign. Prop 8. What the heck was Prop 8? I was in California when Prop 8 was there. I had no idea what it was. I saw commercials. Prop 8 is the devil. I saw other commercials. Prop 8 is our savior. And no one said what it was. There was so much confusion that no one was educated. And nobody knew how to vote. So it was really, really confusing. And that's what happened with Obamacare. It did pass, and so did Prop 8. But nobody knew. It was all hearsay. It was all confusion. And it's even more so now because the news runs with the most extraordinary situations, the stories, and they don't tell you what's real. They don't just say, well, this, and we're gonna tell both sides, like, if this is true, but it's not. They don't say that. They just say, this is true, believe us, because we're the news. And there's people that do. So I want you guys to look it up, and I will post the links in the video. So you guys can just peruse it. I'm linking directly to the PDF of the law that was passed. I will also link to the PDF of the law that did not pass. So you can look up word for word how they're different, how one is better than the other, and I'll even link you to the article that I used to check Snopes.com, and there's also factchecker.org, I believe. And I use several different websites, but then I also look it up. So I use the fact checker stuff just to see what research has other people done. And then I do my own research. It takes time, it takes energy, and sometimes it's really confusing. But you have to do that to get past the veil of ignorance that these people have. That these people that are yelling the loudest and forwarding and creating all of these misinformation emails and Facebook posts and memes and the popular stuff that gets out there because it's so controversial, and then they don't know. So they're the most heard, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. So you have to do it. And I want you to do that. Just 20 minutes. If you're going to watch a YouTube video that's already 11 minutes long, spend 20 minutes. Find something that's controversial in your life and just look and see if it's true or not. It doesn't have to be Obamacare. It can be anything, any law that you aren't sure about, or any act. Like, read a cracked article and then see if what they said is true. Just check their facts, because you know they're writers. They might make a mistake. Something might have gotten through. I do that sometimes. It's fun. And read the comments. There's going to always be somebody that's saying it's not true. See if they're right. Just play devil's advocate a little bit. And if you honestly really believe something, look it up, test it. Because just having belief is not enough sometimes, especially if it's verifiable and you've never done it. I do that sometimes. I take my core beliefs, the beliefs in my entire world that I have, and I will test them. I will look it up. I honestly change sometimes. I used to believe that the world was awesome, that if you were good, good things happened. I got scammed, I got robbed again, I got scammed again, I got robbed again, and I still believed that the world was a good place. I needed to stop and realize that that is not how the world works. Obviously, it's really nice to think about, but if you do that, you're not basing your real life on reality. You're basing it off of fantasy, and if you act on fantasy, you are not making an informed decision. You have to do that, and it is hard. It is really hard to change your beliefs in something that you are very strongly for. But you have to, because it will destroy you if you don't. If you're wrong. If you're right, awesome. There's nothing wrong with being right. So don't worry about being wrong. Worry about not checking. And I guess that's going to be it. And I hope you guys have a nice day, and I hope this helped. So, peace.